of regulation is being taken care of as we speak. Uh, there's currently several regulations on AI that exist or are in the making, and we're going to have a look at the seven most important questions to ask when you have to deal with that in your organization. Right now, I've done a presentation before on the European Commission, the EU, that proposed the first EU regulation framework back in April 2021 for AI. Um, it actually proposes that framework that AI systems can be used in different applications, and they have to be analyzed and classified according to the risk they pose to users. And the different risk levels will mean more or less regulation. That's the idea behind it. There's also, where I live in Australia, an AI ethics framework that includes 8 principles that organizations can apply to achieve better outcomes with AI and reduce the risk of negative impact, because that's what you want. And of course, there's the federal government in the United States that has outlined its intention to regulate artificial intelligence, saying there are gaps in existing law and new forms of AI technology, and they need safeguards to protect society. But they're in the early stages. And of course, there's other regulations on AI in different countries and regions around the world, but those are the major three right now. Now, the EU framework is the front runner at the moment, so quickly have a look at how they classify different types of AI systems. So they're looking at it from one specific angle, and they aim to classify and regulate AI applications based on their risk to cause harm. And this classification primarily falls into three categories: banned practices, for instance, high risk systems, and the third one, other AI systems. So, high risk systems, you might recognize those, are those that pose significant risk to health and safety of individuals or society as a whole. Systems like critical infrastructure, for example, so it's just transport, energy, and whenever AI systems undergo a conformity assessment procedure via a third party conformity assessment body, pursuant to the relevant union harmonization legislation, they'll have to be classified as high risk AI systems. So that's basically what the thinking behind that is. Now, how does it classify different AI systems? It aims to classify and regulate AI applications based on their risk to cause harm, as we've said before. And some examples of those are dangerous AI use cases, for example, mass facial recognition programs in public places, predictive policing algorithms to try to identify future offenders using personal data, government social scoring, real time biometric identification systems in public spaces, for instance. And in general, AI systems considered to be a clear threat to the safety, livelihoods, and rights of people. So those are the AI regulation activities that are being worked on right now. Now, it covers a lot of ground, AI regulation. If you look here to the left-hand side, that's why I put this up. This is the full data set surrounding AI regulation. By the way, that full data set, you can purchase it down below in the link. It's available and you can reuse it at will. All the questions are in there, all the activities, and all the job roles that need to be doing. Let me make myself a little bit tinier so you can actually have a look at what's going on here. Let's see, there I am. Oof, down here. Still here. Down here. So here, what we see here on the screen are all the activities. Now, first, let me make it a little bit easier on you to have a look at what actually is involved. Let's open up my screen here. What actually is involved in AI regulation, all the areas that it focuses on. So AI regulation, if I open this up, we'll get to see all the areas that it focuses on AI regulation. So data ownership, for instance, data security, risk assessment, data protection laws, data regulation, AI governance, AI policy, liability issues, policy guidelines, data governance models, responsible use, legal framework, human rights, data sharing, technology regulation, data ethics, privacy protection, regulatory compliance assessments, etc. I won't do the whole thing, you can read it yourself. These are all the main areas that AI regulation is focusing on. Now, what is actually behind this? And I'm going to go through one to explain what's going on here. What's going on here is that each and every of these main areas, AI policy here, has got questions, liability issues, AI policy has got questions behind it that you can use in your own organization. What are the questions that you need to be asking to make sure that you're doing the right thing here? So liability issues, what should the data governance policy for your smart organization address? AI policies, that's the one attached to this one. Liability issues, how are parties addressing key issues like data privacy, data security, and liability allocation. So this is how this works. Every main area has a question or questions. Most have multiple questions attached to them. And those questions also have responsibilities, so functions, so roles attached to them. So these are people that you can actually have a look at in your organization that take care of that area. And you can ask them then you can then ask them, how are parties addressing key issues like data privacy, data security, and liability allocation? And these are the areas that need to be monitoring then. Keep your trade secrets confidential and have employees and third parties take care of that. Monitor and review the needs and expectations of your interested parties. So, quickly, I explained what the colors actually mean, the colors of the balls. We have the main area is here, the artificial intelligence regulation in the middle. Then we have all the sub areas that it covers around it, policy guidelines, AI policy, AI governance, etc. Each and every area has multiple questions attached to it. So if I open up another one, we'll get more questions here. Open up another one, we'll get more questions here. And job roles and functions that are related to that. Then also to address those questions, what you'll see is these are the areas that you need to cover, you need to take care of. Those are the green areas. So if you want to stay in front of AI regulation, have a look at this data set and definitely use it. Now, this is how it all connects, what areas are being covered, and what the colors of the balls are in here. Now, there are many questions that you need to be asking yourself when you're dealing with AI regulation. And these are some of the questions that are in this data set. Let me zoom in a bit. The blue balls are the questions, so you can have a look at what's going on here. It's a lot. Now, what we've done here is we've prioritized each and every of those questions. And the prioritization is based on an algorithm that weighs the priority against one question, against all the other questions, and so forth and so forth. And when I keep doing that, the most important questions come popping up and bubble up to the top, bubble up to the top. So by doing that, I can go and the bubble up is called Moscow score. Moscow stands for must have, should have, will have. So that's a prioritization in an organization. So the must have questions to answer, let me limit this to 7. And I only want to see the highest questions that we have available, the highest ratings that we have. So with this, I can build a roadmap. I can build a roadmap for taking care of AI regulation or starting out in my organization. Let's start with one ball number 1. Are there any privacy needs or compliance and regulatory policies about security and data sharing attached to regulatory policies? These are the people that are attached to that, and we can ask if we're taking care of that. And when we ask them those questions, then we'll actually take care of some of these areas, meticulously evaluate the impact of AI on privacy, protect your privacy as well as the baseline in the near future, know and follow the requirements of the policies. What we also see here, and I haven't mentioned this one before, is a yellow ball. And the yellow ball, those are other main areas to address when I only want to focus on security. So let me drag that out a bit because security is a word that will probably pull up a lot of questions. These are all the questions that are related to security. So they all have security in them. What is the role of a data steward in an information security audit? How do database management systems ensure data security and privacy, etc., etc.? So that gives you an idea of the depth of everything that's in here, but we're only focusing on the 7 most important questions, like I said. So we've done question number 1. We've done this one. Are there any privacy needs or compliance and regulatory policies about security and data sharing? All right, next one. You see the other 4 questions here, they're also attached to security. So of the most important question. Does the use of hardware security modules for encryption and key management reduce the time spent on demonstrating compliance with privacy and data protection requirements? Again, related to privacy protection, this one. And these are some of the main areas that we need to be covering with those job roles here. Areas, keep track of all your IT hardware. Configure more than one disk partition with encryption, or preferably all of them. Build and or integrate the necessary computing hardware. Reduce maintenance cost by having a trained staff do simple hardware changes. Areas that you can focus on to make sure you're doing the right thing here. Protect the privacy of individuals that are affected by privacy notice, available upon client request. If I double click on it as well, we get here a red ball. And red ball is if I want to focus on areas around privacy that I need to be covering, it'll pop up just like it did with the yellow balls here for the questions. It'll pop up all the privacy areas around everything that needs to be done. Let me pop that back in. Right, so we have 2 now. Let's go to 5 more. When do you strengthen your data security to enable, what do you do to strengthen your data security to enable governance, risk management, retention, cybersecurity, and compliance with privacy regulations? Taking care of that. Areas that we need to cover, and have a clear protocol to respond to regulation, output infrastructure as code security, as code compliance, for example, have robust systems and processes for ensuring good governance. Make sure we do all that. And we do that with content planner, IP clerical assistant. These are some of the job roles, functions that we want to involve in this thinking, this process. Booking coordinator, for instance, what kind of data are we actually logging here and are we using? And is it all illegal in relation to current and upcoming privacy regulations? Number 3, is your information security and data privacy policy in compliance with security industry standards and regulations related to data regulation, obviously, and again, many areas that we need to be covering here. So let me zoom out a bit, drag it over here. Implement your organization focus with technical information, experience the need to look up resources for information, find the policies and other standards, actually find those standards and policies. And there are ISO standards that you can use, there are NEN standards that you can use, NIST standards that you can use, many standards that you can have a look at to make sure that you're doing the right thing in compliance with industry standards and regulations. But you need to be doing those. You need to making sure that you're covering those. Just look into them. And if you need a hand, need some help there, just reach out and I'll point you in the right direction. Now, what else do we have here? We have one more here that's attached to security. What risks would your organization face if there were a privacy security breach involving the data portfolio? So really think about that. Think ahead about that. What kind of risks will we face when we're doing that? And these are all the areas that you need to be covering to make sure that you're doing that. Select the best idea. These are the things that you can put into place. Assess the current and the future financial effects of the risks. Protect your privacy as well as the baseline in the near future. Have the tools to help your organization identify and manage the increased risks. That's number 5. Then 2 more questions to ask, which are not directly related to security. So we'll see what those are. Data. They're related to data and data ethics. Does your organization adopt data ethics risk management practices that are fit for purpose for the management of ethical risks within the data supply chain? All right. Clarify and govern the security risk. Clearly articulate to your stakeholders the business model and the risks. Consider the preferred reading to be, what do you consider the preferred reading to be of the value of the security and intelligence, etc. Use AI in supply chain partners. Have automated and inline market intelligence. These are the main areas you're covering there, related to data. This one, should your organization, the last one, it's related to privacy laws. See that? Here, privacy laws, right there. Should your organization that decides to integrate a particular third-party service simply be held responsible for that service compliance with data privacy laws? So who's responsible here? Review the monthly performance of customer service, migrate data while maintaining regulatory and organizational compliance, and transcend traditional boundaries within your organization to promote democratic values as action, advocacy, dialogue, and service. Provide secure and ease of access while providing security and compliance, and those ones are related to data, as you can see. All right, I'm just quickly checking the time here. We're at 14 minutes, so we're running on time. So if I zoom out here, what we're seeing here is a quick roadmap to make sure we're doing the right things in data regulation. As I've shown you before, there's many questions in this data set, many activities, many things that you can be doing in your organization. But to start out, focus on these 7 most important questions, the blue balls. Get those ready and make sure that you do those in your organization. Then you're covering, if you're doing that, data regulation, you're covering data security, you're covering privacy protection, you're covering regulatory policies, privacy laws, and data ethics. Those are the main areas that you're focusing on when you're starting out right away with this one. Make sure that you involve all these people in the blue balls here. The dark blue balls, make sure that they're in line and they know what's expected of them. Involve them, get their feedback, and learn together. And the green balls give you ideas on what to actually do. Now, all this data and the big data set, this roadmap and everything that's behind it, purchase it on the link below, and you'll have access to a PDF book that has all the data in it, and the flat text file that is easy to import, a CSV file, easy to import everywhere, to reuse, basically, to make sure you're doing the right thing. So this, my friends, is AI regulation, the 7 most important questions to ask in your organization to make sure you're doing the right thing and are prepared for AI regulation that will quickly come over the horizon and enter your organization. Just like GDPR done in the past, new AI regulation will quickly come over the horizon and will take care of this. Now, with this, I say adieu, goodbye, be good to each other. Thank you for being here. Again, go to the link below to purchase the data, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks, and next time.